go. Okay, so this is part two for today, Saturday. God, it feels like Sunday to me. I've been working so much today. It's like Sunday already. Um, and I am gonna catch everybody up. I've actually been doing some work on this, and can catch you up on what I've been doing. So just to I mean, if you've been following along in the playlist, you can just go look at the Kubernetes Colearning thing. Last we left our adventures, whatever. We've been trying to make. We've been trying to make. I don't have the steps updated. I've added so much. Okay, so I've added a lot of stuff, so I haven't caught up my steps file. And I will catch that up and we'll commit it. So I want to leave it any of the dust. But I've been testing about a lot of different scenarios about how to do this. And I came down pretty hard on that tutorial. We started out doing the Kubernetes the hard way tutorial, and I just hate it. I hate it. It's just not relevant at all. Kelsey's an amazing human being and a fantastic person, and he's done crazy great things for Kubernetes in general, but that tutorial is shit. And I say that with the greatest love, but I hate it. It's just horrible. It's just horrible. It forces you to use Google Cloud, and it's got another number of things. So you can hear me ranting and slowly kind of descending into hatred of the whole tutorial over the last like 5 hours of sessions that I've been doing. But so ultimately right now it's out the window. We're not doing it anymore. And that I've gone through many iterations of trying to figure out how to practice setting up Kubernetes clusters, and I'm trying to simplify the process as much as possible without doing too much automation. I think it's okay for you to write your own scripts. I don't think you should be using scripts to do your practice, And I mean, I see why a lot of people come to, I'm gonna tag this one. Give me a sec. So I see why so many people come to kind of want to use the either the cloud offerings, which somebody made a big case. It's like nobody does their own cloud anymore, and I disagree. I think there's going to be an increase of on-prem cloud talent needed, not hey, just use somebody else's turnkey, GKE or yeah, sure, they're all fighting for it, but nobody. I don't want to centralize on, and I did a whole thing about how I don't think that's a thing. That people actually do want on-prem, and there's still going to be competitive advantage to do on-prem. And so I don't want to get into all that, but it directly relates to how do you prepare for this, right? So how do you prepare for Kubernetes? How do you learn Kubernetes? And I've been trying to go through the Kubernetes.io stuff, and that was kind of hit or miss. Somebody suggested Hightower's like tutorial. I went for that, and it's doing a bunch of unnecessary stuff with Google Cloud. It has you set up your own CA certificate authority, which you don't need to do. It uses their Google proprietary ways of doing it. It uses a Google proprietary load balancer. It's all it's all irrelevant if you want to do it at home and you want to do it in a way that's kind of available everywhere. So I understand that people who have been doing Raspberry Pi clusters even more up to this point. I'm actually seriously tempted to do that, even though when I do my hardware testing, I want to actually test the Cedaro Metal and Talos more than I want to test vanilla Kubernetes on Raspberry Pi or on whatever x86 stuff. But I see why people do it, because then the steps are pretty codified. Install Linux. You have to install install kubeadm, install a container runtime engine of some kind, install this and this and this, the major components. And frankly, the list of components that you have to install to get Kubernetes cluster running is not really evident, even from the Kubernetes.io. It's kind of split up all over the place. So I still think the world needs a step-by-step thing here. I don't think the Hightower, Kelsey's Hightower does it. It's one's very, very highly opinionated way to go through it, the hard way. But I think there's another hard way. Honestly, I was seriously disappointed. I thought the hard way was going to be kind of in the sense of like the other hard way books from Python, the other authors that have done it, which say, go figure out how to do this. I thought for sure that they were going to say, set up your own hardware. That would be the hard way to me. I mean, I was really hoping that was what it was, and unfortunately, that's not what it was. So where does that leave us? That leaves me trying many ways to simulate as close as possible the process of doing this using digital and virtual means of containers and stuff like that, which means that I'm currently pursuing doing it with just a host container. And we've hit so another way to do it would be do a whole bunch of VMs, right? So if I think probably the most true to form way to do this, if you really wanted to do this well, and this would require, I believe it would require a lot more cores than I have. I only have 8 cores. Honestly, if you really want to get into Kubernetes or Nomad or this whole cloud native stuff, I kind of feel like you need to have a server and you need to have a desktop, and they should not, never the twain shall cross paths. Let me tell you why. So something I realized as I was going through this is, so Billy corrected me a little bit on this conclusion, but that the use of swap, right? So as of today, kubeadm requires swap be off. That's a big deal. And if you don't believe me here, I'll show you. So if we go over here, and if I run, so this is a simulated node. It's running in Docker, but it gives you kind of the same sort of thing. And I'm just going to do kubeadm init, which is this standard basic thing, and you get, sorry, you fail. Now this one here is because it's container, and I can fix that one. But this swap one, it's like, please disable swap. Well, you can't disable swap because why? If I run top here, this is my desktop OS, and there's no fucking way I'm turning swap off on my streaming system that I play games on. There's just no way. I think that's idiotic to do that. A lot of people might disagree. I think there's plenty of reasons to run swap on a modern workstation desktop. Plenty of reasons. The primary one of which is you don't want your system to freeze and die. It's going to do that anyway for other reasons, let alone running out of memory accidentally because you did something silly while you were doing your work. I never ever want to disable swap. I think it's a bad thing. I know people they have strong opinions on this right now, and my strong opinion is don't do it. But this is a top running on my container. Okay, this is a top running on the container, but as you know, if I come over here, just on the host system, and I run top, you'll see the same exact memory, like to the T, right? Because why? Because it's the same system, it's just a container, right? So this one's got a lot more processes and stuff because it's an operating system well, technically, I don't know how to put this, but it's a shrewded environment, strictly speaking, that's got different processes and stuff in it. But it's sharing the same memory exactly. So this is a big deal. If you're going to do preparation for yourself and you're going to try to do what I did. One of the reasons I came into this, I was, I don't know, maybe 4 sessions, 2, 3 Fridays ago, I was like speccing big hardware, big iron for servers. And I was going to say, oh, hey, I'm going to get this gaming system with a Threadripper, and then I'm going to put it in there, and I'm going to make, I'm going to kick ass because I'm going to be able to stream, and I'm going to be able to have all these little tiny, like actual virtual machines, just as real as anything you get in the cloud. And I can then put Kubernetes on there and the container engines and all that stuff, and not run into the problems you do using, host containers like I'm doing now. Because why? Because they're separate. And then what? I can give every one of them like no swap. So like, okay, you don't get any swap, because they're virtual machines, right? So the virtual machines have the advantage of being able to dictate the swap setting. And if you do it the Docker container way, the way I'm doing it, or the way Kind does it, you don't have that option, right? So this is probably the reason that it was told to me to just recently. Vera told me that in 1.2.1 that swap is no longer required, even though I just installed kubeadm 1.2.1 and it still required it. So I don't know what the definitive answer on that is. But if that's true, and I need to find backup confirmation of that, but if it's true that Kubernetes no longer requires swap be disabled, then I can see a bunch of reasons to go with my original plan for kind of, working with Kubernetes all the time and making my own mini clusters and bringing them up really quickly and bringing them down. Even if I want to grow my own, whether it's for scripts or it's Ansible or KubeSpray, whatever, if I want to build my own, I could do it like as close to the real thing with a bunch of virtual machines running on, kind of a Threadripper server that's got tons of cores, and I can just bring them up and take them down, and I can do exactly the same thing I would do because they're virtual machines, and I wouldn't hit the problem. So that still seems to be a very valid approach. But if there's no requirement for swap to be turned off, then running it, more quickly and in many ways in a better way within. The problem with doing the virtual machines that way is that you actually are taking all kinds of space, because every one of your virtual machines is going to make a redundant copy of the images that you have that you're deploying to your pods and stuff. And so, like, if I was doing Jupyter Hub and I wanted to have it run and I want them all to be on there, that means there would be a copy of PyTorch on every single virtual machine, and I'd run out of space. In fact, using my MiniCube, I did recently. I ran out of space. I was trying to work on the PyTorch image from NVIDIA, and MiniCube actually is really good at separating out its Docker engine, its container engine. I don't even know if it's Docker, but it's inside of its MiniCube thing, and so it was isolated and it filled. So MiniCube filled. I switched over to using Kind again and didn't fill. Because why? Because it's running an emulated Kubernetes environment using Docker containers as nodes. In fact, specifically using one container as a node. In fact, I think mine's still up right now. Nope, I think I killed it. Let me see. So yeah, it stopped. Okay, that's my MiniCube. Never mind. Okay, get context. I think I still have it here. Config get context. So yeah, okay, it's still there. All right, okay, get nodes. Yeah, okay, I still have it. So Kind, and we talked about this before. Kind does the same thing as MiniCube essentially, except for it puts it all inside of the controller plane, and it does have kubeadm. It has this whole thing got triggered by the fact that MiniCube does not, in its control plane node, it does not have kubeadm. And I wanted to use kubeadm to look at certificates expiration, stuff like that, and I couldn't do it on MiniCube. I was kind of pissed because we had an outage on our dev cluster, and I was like trying to look about how to check that, and there was no way I could test it in MiniCube. So but I could do it in Kind, and somebody mentioned that at the time. I think Billy did. He said, "Yeah, you can do that in Kind, but you can't do it in MiniCube." I was like, "That doesn't make any sense." And because the truth of the matter is that kubeadm is not installed in MiniCube in the node, which is completely and totally against the stuff on all the documentation. So the documentation says, hey, you got to have kubeadm if you're going to do that way, blah blah blah, and it has to be on there, and you have to have kubectl on there, and you got to have kubelet, blah, what is going to have to be on all your nodes, and so then I kind of got annoyed because now I can't really use MiniCube to simulate my real environment. Just as the same reason I kind of threw out micro Kubernetes, because I didn't want things that chopped off pieces of the actual Kubernetes, because I wanted to experience as close as possible to the real thing, which is why so many people go back to Raspberry Pi clusters, because that's real. I mean, that's like real. Like every one of them has to have the image installed, however you boot it or whatever. And this is making more of a case to go back to a hardware cluster if you want a true environment that models what you might be working with at work or someplace like that. But the closest thing, so I've been exploring the possibility of building my own cluster from scratch using nothing but Docker, and then using each node as a plane, and I've gotten pretty far with it. And that's where we're at. So the last thing I don't know what you want to call it, but so here we go. Here's my IPs. Oops. Build IPs. So here's all the IPs for the different controllers that were built. See, this shows you that I have Kind running. I should probably turn that off. Kind cluster. How about delete cluster? I don't need it. I mean, you can pull one up really fast, but it's getting crowded over here. So even in the containers, it's getting crowded, but it's even more crowded when you have VMs running. So a lot of this is for me is making me. There's another way to do this. There's two ways that I still want to explore. There's the hardware way, right? But outside of that, the hardware way is a given. But the two sort of like personal cluster approaches that are real, that I'm exploring, are making a whole bunch of VMs on your system and following all the same instructions just as if you were doing it, except for doing it on your virtual machines. And that is almost verbatim exactly what you would do if you were going to do it with hardware. You would, on the hardware one, you would just be installing OSs and all those pieces on the individual pieces of hardware. So if you have a bunch of individual virtual machines running on a single computer, That is the closest thing possible on a computer, workstation, desktop, you can have to the real thing. It's the single closest thing to the real thing. And so that's one of them. And I still want to entertain that possibility. I'm going to need more cores for that, as I talked about. But the second one, and I'm playing around with this one right now, which may actually be more efficient if we can get around some of the quirks, is to run the entire cluster by creating host containers, which are sort of like machines. They're not. They share the kernel and RAM and everything, of course, because they're containers, and then effectively build out. And this is kind of what Kind already does. So it's kind of nice because we can go, and I have many times. I've gone through the Kind. I've looked in the Kind source code. I have it up here in item number 3. I've looked through the Kind source code to see some of the tricks that they did to get around the fact that this is not an actual machine, right? And too much of that magic becomes counterproductive, right? If you get too much of that magic, then you might as well just save up money, buy a computer with extra cores, and do it with virtual machines. And then I'd be doing I don't know, I'd be doing it with KVM or QEMU or probably. Actually, I learned the difference between Zen and KVM the other day, so and that's good. And I still need to learn virtual machines. So there's this, for Christmas, who knows? Santa Claus might bring me, a Threadripper machine that I can do this entire thing with using Vagrant and KVM or something like that. So I could just set up actual machines. I don't want to script it too much though, right? So I kind of want to go through the pain of setting up individual nodes as if, hey, we got these new machines. They just came in off the dock, right? And we have our infrastructure team getting these nodes ready for us, and they're burning the images on them that we've requested, right? That have our certs in them and everything, so that we can just, join them to the network, which I've never done yet. And then we can go forward that way. So I'm attempting every time I do this, you'll hear me role play how to do this as if I, imagining that this cluster control 3 or control 2 I just brought up is an actual machine. And the way that I've gotten that, the closest to that, to keeping track of it, is if you go to my images here, I actually have a controller image and a worker image, which is designed to, and they're both built off base right now. There's no difference between them. But right now, this is their Ubuntu systems. And I locked it down to the same version that Kind did for no particular reason. I probably could put latest there and be fine. But anyway, and this isn't workspace, by the way. This is lab Kubernetes hard Docker. That's the name of this repo. And so I've had, this is actually really, really, really good because, as you know, containers have almost nothing on them. So it really forces me to go, oh, well, we have to make CA certificates is on there. If I had to imagine being given like a new bare metal piece of iron to put something on, I would put, I would choose the operating system, Ubuntu, and then I would say, okay, well, what do you want on there? Right. And then somebody would ask me, and I'd have to say, well, I want these and this and this and this and this. And I can capture all that in the Dockerfile just as if I were doing that. So that's what's up with this. I just realized I don't have LSP core, so I had to install that. And, bash completion is not on there by default. And, that kind of stuff might seem like a waste of time. I don't consider it a waste of time because these are kind of tiny, less significant dependencies, but they are dependencies. So if somebody asks me, well, what needs to be on your machine for it to be a node? I say, well, you're going to need Red Hat or Ubuntu. And the Cloud Native Foundation on Kubernetes.io, they separate out into those two as well. I say, well, if it's Ubuntu, you had to have these following things on it, right? I put OpenSSH on there, even though you can't connect to it. I might put it into TINI, so I can do that because you can't install systemd on. I mean, they do it in Kind though, so I've got to figure this out. There's just so much magic that has to go on with all of the mount points you have to make it work properly. Otherwise, you're gonna really, really screw up your host machine. But getting back to the swap thing, so I'm kind of on the fence because if it turns out we have to disable swap, there's no way I'm disabling swap in my desktop, which means that if you really want to do this, I think the better way to do this would probably be to buy a server and have that different than your desktop. I mean, that's probably a no-brainer for a lot of you. But, if I'm going to buy a server and then the server I'll buy a server with Threadripper that doesn't have, maybe it has a GPU just so I can practice, doing GPU affinity kinds of things with the Kubernetes cluster like we do with, GPU node feature discovery, which I helped install on our dev cluster. And so, so anyway, and then I would SSH into the server in my house, and then I would reallocate it and stuff like that. But then as soon as you do that, you got to ask the question, well, why don't you just allocate a whole bunch of stuff in the cloud? Why don't you just allocate a whole bunch of systems up in DigitalOcean or in Google Cloud, and then you're right back to the doing the hard way Kelsey Hightower thing, except for that's Google specific, right? So because why? Because you're going to have to provision systems. You have to say, hey, I want a computer that has this and this and this on it, right? So whether or not you do that on your own server you paid $5,000 for, or you're on Linode or something and you say, hey, I want this many servers and I'm going to set them all up from myself for scratch, and I'm going to go over there and do all the installation. It's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. It's just, you got to decide what's going to be on there. The reason I kind of like this container way is that every time I realize that there's something on here that I'm missing, I can go ahead and add it to my Dockerfile, and then it gets landed in here. Now, the equivalent of that would probably be if I were doing this using like DigitalOcean or Linode or GCP or Azure or something, the equivalent of that would probably be, like a Terraform or something like that. That's going to say, okay, here's or Ansible, say, okay, here's all the stuff that's on here, and as a matter of like to help you know what's on the infrastructure as opposed to just the Kubernetes part. So I'm still on the fence about whether I'm going to. So my current plan is to keep going, and I'm talking a lot, but my current plan is to finish out seeing what it would take to use Docker. Basically follow the Hightower, like the Kelsey Hightower doing it the hard way tutorial, but doing it using Docker as host containers. And I don't, if that tutorial exists, I haven't read it yet. So I'd like to go about doing it that first. And if that's not possible, then I'm going to, do the hardware here version. And in addition to that, probably would do the cloud version. And then maybe I would use GCP or AWS or something like that. But most people would tell you, well, why are you provisioning your own Kubernetes cluster view that way? You go over and use GKE and just hit the button and it's done. And but then you haven't learned anything. You can't administer if you're on-prem if you're going to just click a button and use everything that pops into your lap from Google or however they decide to do it in their highly opinionated way. So I mean, if I want to be able to set up on-prem Kubernetes clusters, it's actually the target expertise that I want to have, because I strongly believe that people should be focused more on distributed computing power instead of centralizing in 3 or 4, places. I mean, I have really think on this, but what if imagine if the entire world centralized their power consumption in like 3 or 4 power providers. It's ridiculous. You'd never even think of it, right? So I don't want to live in a world where there's only 3 or 4 Kubernetes providers and that's it, and they run everything. And since the internet itself is sort of getting containerized, I don't want that amount of power in just one hand. So I want to promote the idea of on-prem development, even if you're running software that's dependent on the same sort of thing. So that's, people say, why are you wasting your time just using one of the cloud thing? And I'd say that's why, because I want to be able to run, I want to be able to help people. Not only do I want to run it, but I want to be able to help people reuse existing hardware and decentralize their cloud and build their own on-prem solutions. And frankly, I want them to understand that it's not that hard, although it has been monstrously hard so far. So I'm new to this, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to find some angles here that are not obvious right away. And I really want to document the obvious ways so that people can say, well, you really don't need to do that. You just need to put this and this and this on a computer. Then you put this on there, and you put this on there, and you do your search and you're good to go. Right. I hope that's the thing. And that's why I'm spending time on Dockerfile right now, because that encapsulates everything that's required on the computer. So an admin could look at it and go, oh, that's all the stuff that's required. They could just look at the Dockerfile and right away they'd know exactly what was needed. And somebody suggested I could do it with Docker Compose or something. I don't know that the Docker Compose would give me anything extra here. This is just a way for me to write down the steps of the stuff. That's actually why it's got a lot of overlays, a lot of run steps. I normally wouldn't do that, right? I would optimize them away. But this is literally one of the reasons I like Docker files is it's like it literally is the steps to setting up a system the way you want it. And so you can write those things in here and kind of capture it as your to do, like step 1, step 2, and literally calls them steps too. So okay. So where are we? We're at the point where I was just putting in container D. So I hit a bug because it obviously you have to have a controller. So to have a node period, and this is well documented all over the place, but to have a node, you have to have a container engine, of which there's like 3 or 4 or 5. You have to have a kubelet, you have to have kubeadm installed, you have to have kubectl installed, and you need a proxy. Kubeproxy needs to be installed. And I think the kubeproxy comes with some other stuff. You don't have to explicitly install it. So according to the Kubernetes.io official documentation, which is up right here, you have to install all that stuff, right? And I went through all the installation steps. It tells you here you can't have swap on. So I don't know. I'm just telling it to ignore that. Hopefully that's not going to blow up on me. We'll see. These required ports need to be blah, blah, blah. So there's Linux, Docker shim. This is weird because it's not var run docker.sock, right? It's a different thing. You can install Docker on there if you want, but I'm going for the container D option, which so far has been really interesting, mostly because it's so weird. There's nothing to install. You're just enabling stuff in the module, in the kernel. And that I find to be really interesting. I sometimes wonder, since I'm doing it in Docker, is it going to fuck up the container D that's hosting it? So because it's a not kind, but it's it's all running in Docker, right? So Docker already has a container D in it, and there's a great blog I was recently on that talked about how that works. Let's see if it's in my history still. Container D docs. Kubernetes versus Docker. Nope. I don't know if this is the one. No, I don't think this is. No, this was the container D stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's here somewhere. Let me go check. Kubernetes. No, it's not kubeadm. Nope. Kubernetes basic modules. Nope. Deploy and app explorer. This is old. Installing Docker engine. Oh, here we go. So yeah, this is what we were looking at. Okay. So here we have, so I'm updating, this is how, if you want to update the Docker engine, I don't have some command below returns the name of your Ubuntu distribution, such as Xenial. Some distributions like Linux Mint you might get. And you should change to your parent Ubuntu distribution. For example, if you're using Linux Mint Tessa, you choose Bionic. Docker does not offer any guarantees on untested supporting Ubuntu distros. I think I'm going to put Xenial in here because I already have that. So that was actually what I was last working on. I'm sorry I had to talk about that. I have to catch everybody up because I'm using this is Kubernetes Xenial, which I find interesting because it's like a different this is a different distribution name. But I'm going to just put Xenial here. I think support for Xenial is getting deprecated soon. So I think that might just be left over from older stuff. But if I do that, then I have to mess with the LSB stuff. Although it doesn't hurt to have LSB core there for other things. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I mean, we can leave that hard coded. But all right, so let me go. I'm going to build my images again. So every time I do this, I build a worker image. I build a base image, and then I build a worker image and a control image. They're identical right now. The idea I know is that it's as if you had a different computer that was going to be your control, one of your machines that it contains all your control plane stuff. And the control plane stuff is like the master stuff, but they're not calling it master anymore. They call it like control nodes or something. So it's getting all the hooks for the certs. It's just rebuilding the images. And oops, what's that? GPG error. Huh. Following signature couldn't be verified because public key is not available. Genial, not signed. I don't know. I don't know about that one. I wonder if it's because, well, I don't know. Xenial/main. Xenial. I don't know. I actually don't know. I might have to go back with the LSB thing. LSB.ca. Is that what it was? I don't even know what it is on there. I should probably know, but yeah. Let's try Daniel. LSB lease.ca. Build it again. See what it does. Nope. The source cannot be read. I broke something. What did I break? I thought it was CA. It is CS. Oh, whoopsie. Whoopsie. All right, so that's CS. Built board. I was afraid of this. So these are new problems related to downloading container IO and containerd. The following signature can be verified because the public key is not available. What is this? Is it Hirsute in release? The following signatures can be verified. That's the name of it, Hirsute. Not, you know what? I don't think that's the same release. Yes, that's what's happening. The repository has not been signed. Huh. Something I can probably fix. I don't know. We're out of sync is the problem. So we have stable. I wonder if we can use main instead. I don't know. I don't know. Evac print architecture. Signed by user Keyrings. Or just label stable. Maybe it's because it's not a real OS. Maybe. Yep. Write that to have an LCT. Huh. Update the app package index and install the latest version. We did it already. It says here. It says parent Ubuntu distro. I don't know what distro this is. You know what? Let's do something. I'm gonna just run this image on the Docker and see what the LSB is. Yep. Can I actually? I think I can comment this out, right? Oh, I think I can. I wish I could. I wish I could comment the whole thing out. Just do this. That'd be cool. Is that possible? Is there like can you like put an exit, say bail, I just want to do this? Huh. Doesn't look like. That'd be super cool though. Because I have to do this. I have to do all this installation if I'm going to do it. Yeah. But I mean, I'm going to be spending time building images here, but I don't mind building the images. Hey, Punkbane. Tell me when I'm on. Me too. Let's do this. Let's say, all right, fine. I'm going to copy base, Docker. Well, let's see. CD into base. All right, but this copy base Dockerfile to base Dockerfile dot back base. I want to check something here. So I'm going to only do this. I want to do this much, and I want to see if these commands. So I'm going to kill all that, and I'm going to build that. And that built pretty quickly. Good. That's what I want. All right. So and it's all tagged up now. So I can do run. Controller 1. Hard control. Okay. So, whoops. Controller. And control 1. Kubernetes control. Oh, right. Control 1 is already there, so. Yeah. D room control. Oops. Is that right? Yeah. I don't care. God damn it. All right. So there. Now let's go build another one. Actually, I just want to log into it. All right. So I probably could do without the D. Let's do the D. I just want to get on it. Okay. So now we're trying to see LSB release works first of all. All right, so this is what we have. LSB version core, no security, LSB release -cs, hersuit. So I see that is the version of Linux that is the host. Huh. Yeah. I think that might be the problem. Yeah, because it said there's no version for that. So let's go back and see here. Where am I? My bash. Okay. So let's go into the base Dockerfile here. Eddie Perko is someone that needed my help in adventure. You had to use an actual ID. I just learned yesterday that Slack, you can actually draw on the screen if you share screens with somebody. I thought that was cool. It's like right here, you can like draw on it. It's cool. So label maintainer, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So this is just the LSB. What was the thing we were trying to do? We were trying to do this. LSB release the CS stable. And there we can't, it's not letting us add the emotive distribution stuff. You know what I mean? So I could actually copy this and I should be able to run it, but I cannot. All right. There's probably some line returns there that'll mess me up, but no sudo. What? All right, so let's do this. See, well, that's weird. That one worked. And why did that work and the other one didn't? It's because of the release. And because the release isn't consistent. I'd have to do latest on it. What is my LSB release on the host name? I think it is the same. LSB release. I don't think this is installed. Hersuit, it's the same one. So it is the host OS. Aha. You know what? That makes a lot of sense. You know why? Because when I was doing it before, I'm forcing it to be Ubuntu 20.04, which who knows? That's probably not the latest. Right? I wonder if I were to do this to say latest, actually just do Ubuntu Focal or something. You know, I don't know. Let's try it. Now I shouldn't change the version, the LSB version though, because I don't know. What's the LSB release based on? Is that based on the kernel or is it based on the distro? I thought the LSB was the distro-ish kind of stuff. I could have that wrong. That's what I thought anyway. I could be mixing up. So yeah. And GoLand is not bad. It is pretty, I've heard it's pretty good. You wouldn't trade your bin for it? You would pull it out of your cold dead hands. Big teams use it. Delve Debugger and Cadillac, yeah. I'm stuck on GDB Land. Yeah. I want to play with Delve someday too. I think it sounds interesting, but I'm not ready to do that yet. Nope, not me. All right. Okay, so we're gonna exit this here, and this should actually be gone. I'll remove that controller and go start another one, and should still be Yeah, it's just to be. Oh, it's focal now. Interesting. Huh. I wasn't planning on. I wasn't counting on that. What is focal? What is focal? I wonder if that's a problem. I have a feeling that that's. I have a feeling that that's not one of the standard images that's supported. I mean, that's what this stuff is saying, right? It says you might have one that's not supported. You got to find one that is. Yeah. The name of your Ubuntu distribution as such as anything else. Sometimes it is a distro. What is the latest Ubuntu distro? You go look at the release names. List of releases. Okay. Stupid graphics take forever to render. Really? This is how long it takes? Oh my God. All right. So Ubuntu 21.10. Indri Hirtsu 2104. It's 2104 XX. So focal is 20.04. Okay. That's interesting. No, that's actually what we want, because the image I was grabbing before I was forcing it to 2104. And there's they make a big deal about there not being a bunch of lag between the kernel versions or something. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to try this build and see if it works better. So yeah, let's do that. Let's do, well, I that might fix our problem with the issues. I just need to get containerd installed. That's what I'm trying to do right now. And then I might leave this here. I don't know how long I'm gonna make it tonight. I'm kind of tired. I'm going full steam. I just have first line. So move base Dockerfile dot back base Dockerfile. And just do that. Build that, see what happens. That might have fixed the problem. Nope. It says in release, the following signature could be verified because the public key is not available. Well, am I pulling the key down wrong? Maybe I am. That might be it. The key's supposed to be up here, right? So, yeah, there we go. FS blah 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 app GPG key. Ensure keyrings. Kubernetes archive key keyring.gpg. I mean, maybe it's not getting pulled down. User share keyrings, Docker archive, keyring.pgpg. Do they need to be the same keyrings? Because we have this other thing down here. Signed by user share keyrings, Kubernetes archive keyring.gpg. It makes me wonder if I should put it in the same one. No, because that would be two different. That'd be two different keys, right? GDB package. I have this is old school Debian Ubuntu packet packages as opposed to like all the new install PPA stuff, and that's what they do. They stick with Debian. How's it going? They don't go beyond that. So I think that's kind of an issue. I'm pretty sure you have to have them be unique, right? So apt key. I assume this is running. The thing I can figure is it's not. I don't know what's up with that. So the signature is not panning out. It's not finding that. It's not being able to evaluate the signature properly. Actually, no. This is the one. So It's getting a signature. And this says architecture. I wonder if that's part of the problem for architecture. That might be a problem. So this one doesn't have it at all. I wonder if it should have it. Signed by user share Keyrings, Kubernetes, Docker, archive Keyring, download Linux, Ubuntu, download Docker, Linux, Ubuntu, stable. So this is, we're just trying to get Docker. Maybe I don't even need it. I mean, why do I need it? I need it because what? I need it because we're going to do the install of container runtime, which is where I got rid of that. Yep, I do. I forgot the install stuff. Yeah, this is it. Apt-get update and then this. So yeah, I just need these here. So what I'm wondering is if I even need it. I might not. It might already be there. So let's, because it is, I mean, I don't know. We're going to try it without it. Docker apt install. I'm going to take rid of those for now. I mean, it'll die right away if it doesn't know where they are. I think they might actually be in the base image. I don't know. I'm going to check. App does not have a stable CLI interface. Oh, right. Yeah, I learned this the hard way. You always want to use apt install or apt-get. Yep, apt-get-y. Man, we don't need to do the update on anything. I don't know. We'll see. Let's just try that. Let's just try that. Build. Yeah, I can't find it. I need to locate the packages. So you have to add something. I'm going to have to add this. This is failing. That's actually working. Otherwise, it would say it was failing. This is not working for some reason. I'm wondering if I can get rid of the architecture. I have to go study all my sourceless stuff from the ancient days of doing that, back in Debian only days. Good evening. And let's do build. Oh, still no. Okay, so package docker c is not available. Run apt-get install docker, boom, running. Removing intermediate container. I need to go check and see. Shit. For some reason, this is not doing the trick. I don't quite know why. I don't know why. That's the main. It's a small thing, but it's an annoying thing. That's keeping us from doing it. So we're just trying to get I'm just trying to do a package install and add a new source list. So this is the standard one they told us to do, and I don't know though. I mean, let's be stable. Is it because this was? Wait. Did I change the Ubuntu stuff? Please tell me I didn't. I think I might have changed the other Ubuntu stuff that's there. GNU, oh, we don't have any GNU PG. Please tell me it's there already. Please tell me it's there already. Oh my God, I'm going to be so embarrassed. It's not. There's no way it can be. I feel embarrassed. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it can't check the signatures. So it's giving me a thing saying, don't know what you're talking about because there's no GPG. This is why I'm doing a container, because you have to have GPG on your stuff. I mean, so like I say, so this is a lesson learned. If you were building a system that was going to be a worker or controller node, make sure it has GPG installed. You know, add it to the list. LSB release. I think LSB core is going to be enough. I don't know. Let's do this. Let's say maybe that's enough. And APT transport HTTPS, have that. Say search. See, I got everything except for GPG. Ugh, stupid Rob. Stupid. All right. Rebuild the images. In their home lab, mini PCs. I do. I've been starting to use more. Yeah, that's just because we changed one of the base overlays. Yeah, there we go. Fuck. I don't understand. Base Docker, GPG release. What am I doing wrong here? Run. I can't imagine this to being it, but that's one of the things that's missing. Yeah. This here, okay, and then we have this. Wait, we missed the GPG dearmor. Do I not have a GPG dearmor in my other one? Oh, I'm gonna be really mad at myself. I'm gonna be mad if that's it. I'm gonna be super mad. It is oh my God, Rob, you dumb shit. Such a dumb shit. I forgot to GPG dearmor the thing. Yeah, that's what's up. The other one didn't need that step, so I find this intriguing. Yeah, I copied the other curl on it, and then I got this extra thing here. So I learned something. I learned that this other one does not have a GPG. So down here, it doesn't have it. It doesn't dearmor or anything. It just takes it as it is, which makes me wonder if it's even working at all. I mean, we haven't got there yet, so we're gonna find out. This other one uses has a GPG step in here. And the dearmor. And it tells it where to do it. And then this is the same. The problem is that being a beginner runner, well, it's tough. No valid OpenPGP data found. Alrighty. I mean, oh my God, I still am failing. I'm still failing. There's no -O at all. I don't know where I even got that from. It's a totally different way of doing it. Yeah, they're piping it through a GPG. There's no O at all. Okay, I see what's up. Yep, I see. Just make sure I got it right. So, hello Docker Ubuntu GPG. Oh, shit, I'm not even downloading the right thing. Please tell me I'm changing it. Oh my God, it's so fucking stupid. So fucking stupid, Rob. You know what? I'm tired. Don't do things when you're tired. Don't do things when you're tired. That was a stupid ass mistake, Rob. Okay, GPG, etc. Most difficult part of the journey is taking for step. Absolument. C'est vrai ça. C'est vrai. C'est très vrai. C'est ça. C'est ça même. I mean, we're getting closer. Learn how to shell script and do Linux. Fuck. It's not available, but it is referring to another package. This may mean that the package is missing or has been obsoleted or is only available from another source. That must mean that it's not... wait. I didn't redo the installation stuff. God damn it. That's the bad thing about it. We got to kind of force it to break. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to take an entire exact line. I thought I did this already. Yeah. I could have swore we did this. Uh-huh. It's the same exact thing. Except for the sudo. I mean, it's the same thing. All right, so this here... Oh, I know what's up here. Yeah. This is totally wrong now. I see it. Okay. Alrighty. I'm redoing you too. Because I feel like I screwed that up. In fact, I know I did. Take all of you as is. And I'm going to study. This is why I'm doing this scope, people. So I'm beating myself up, but I'm beating myself up in a good way because this is the kind of shit I do not want to screw up on next time. So it's making me better. I have no idea why they're redirecting to dev null. That's like crazy. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and try that build. It looks happier. I can see it's not working, but it's pretty bad in package. Did I call it the wrong thing? Oh, I didn't do an apt update. Of course. So fucking stupid. Dude, seriously, how many dumb mistakes is that in a row have I made? How many dumb mistakes? Obviously, you have to do an apt update before you do an apt-get. God, how stupid, Rob. Can I go now? Can I go now? I have made so many stupid errors tonight. I have made 4 massively stupid errors, mostly from copying things wrong and forgetting like really obvious shit. Like I'm supposed to do an update after you update the source list. Duh. You know, this is the kind of shit. This is why you don't do anything that matters when you're tired. And I'm kind of tired because I just want to get this done. I want it to work, you know? I couldn't sleep because I was like, my brain was like going off. Like, I got to get this done. I want to do this. It's really fun though. I like it. It's fun, even though I'm yelling. Let this be a lesson to you. Don't do things when you're tired. Read the instructions. All that jazz. Apt-get update -y. And we'll do an and. Oopsie daisy. Okay. Boom. Oh, damn it. Dockerfile parse line unknown instruction set apt-get. What did I do? I feel bad. Oh. I feel like it's a small happiness. Oh, look at that. Ooh, my image is completely built now. And I think it's got containerd on it now. Oh, this is very fun. I need a Smithers. Yeah. Excellent.
Excellent.
Gotta do that again.
Excellent. Excellent. Excellent.
Excellent. Okay, so what are we gonna do now? What we need to do, I am like, okay, wait. B reset. Oopsie. That's my own build command. So I'm rebuilding those nodes, and they should now have containers on them. So when I run kubeadm, it should work. So if I do if I do D run, no, exec IT, because they're running as daemons. Control 1. That's the name of it. I'll run bash over there. All right, so now if I do kubeadm, it should at least not give me an error in the pre-flight checks. Of course, the swap is failing. Cannot connect to Docker daemon at Unix taker Docker. Is it a Docker? Is the Docker daemon running? Why would it think that that's the socket? I thought by installing the other stuff, it was going to see containerd. It says error verifying Docker info cannot connect to the Docker daemon Unix var socket. So I'm actually going to have to mount it. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I thought that the reason, okay, this is questionable. So I thought that the reason we did all this is so we wouldn't have to use that socket and we could use the Docker shim instead. Got multiple Docker repos. If you have multiple Docker repos enabled, installing it and updating a special version of the applicant install or update command always installs the highest possible version. Okay. To install a specific version of Docker, no. App cache Madison Docker C. Just Docker. Install a specific version. No, we're not doing that. Docker C. Wherever the Docker engine is installed correctly by running hello world image. What? Is it because it's mounted already? I think it might be. Yep. Yeah, I can't get out. I cannot connect to the Docker daemon. Is the Docker daemon running? See, I don't know. I mean, one of the things I'm trying to decide if I should run Docker inside of it or if I should mount the host container Docker container, which might be useful because then that would be like all my nodes are sharing the same Docker, you know. I thought we were going to have to use the shim for all this, and this is surprising me a little bit because this is instructions. I thought these were instructions for containerd. I didn't think they was instructions for Docker. Yeah, install Docker engine. I don't want Docker engine. Yeah, I don't want that. I just want containerd. So yeah, I'm kind of at a loss here. How do I install containerd? You know what? Well, let me try one little hack. Since I'm this far along down this path, I'm going to try a hack. I'm going to mount the socket, which I know is a way to use Docker because I do it in my workspace containers all the time. So, where is it? Exec. No. Run. Here we go. Docker run ITD network name controller. We can do a mount. I'm actually going to go look into my workspace container. I have this already in here, so that's why I'm going to look at it. Eval. Okay, image, wyckoff, config. Docker pull image. Configure.yaml. So some Perl code I wrote a while ago. Image config Docker run privilege name. I think you have to do privilege or one. We had to do privilege to get Apache to work. There we go. P. So it's the ports. That's if you want to do ports to the network host. And there we go, the docker.sock. So we're going to use dash V to mount the varm docker.sock. So this, I know this will work, even if this might not be the most, you know, goodest thing. Yeah. I think we just have, I think if you just make it without a, I'm pretty sure if you do a P without that, it'll just mount it. So if I do B reset, I should take them down and add them back up. Shit. Oh, it's V, not P. Dummy. Dummy. Making lots of mistakes tonight, man. I'm telling you. No, this is container. What are we talking about? Oh, okay. Now what? Let's go try our control again. Where's my run? Here it is. All right, so Docker. Ooh. Docker. Yes. Connect to Docker seconds to Docker daemon running. I just mounted it. Apparently not. Apparently not. Command equals. This is mapping the CMD. What command is mount command for Docker? Oh, this is, oh, it's, oh, I know what's up. I know what's up. Yeah, it's, I think it needs to have 2 on there. Yeah, see, it's just I think volume has to have 2 things, right? I don't do very much. I'm pretty sure it has to have 2. That's annoying. I thought it did it by default, but I guess not. And it's going to say you don't have permission. Probably. We're going to find out. Maybe not. Maybe it is going to work. I'll be surprised. There we go. Huzzah! All right, so that's how you run Docker inside of Docker. That I already knew. The cool thing about that is that my nodes. This might be a problem. But my pretend computers, my host containers, are now using the Docker of their host. The thing that's really cool about that is that I don't have to put the images out there. I don't have to pull the images. So it'll just say I already have the image. So the advantage, this is why I wanted to do this, because if this works, then I won't have to have a ton of VMs per core, 1 VM per each core, all with their own Docker, all with their own socket, all with their own, synchronizing thing. Unless I was testing latency or something like that, or daemon sets or image pulls or something, I would need that. And that's actually, now that I think about it, that's probably a reason to do that, because those are things that you want to test. Right? When you cordon stuff off, you want to make sure I don't want to cordon this off because it has a daemon set on it. Or it has, yeah. All right. Tell her to go bed here pretty soon. That's actually really good news though, because that means I'm very, very close to being done. The kubeadm and it's going to be a lot happier. Watch. So kubeadm and it's going to be much happier. These other ones I know that I can get around. This little swap issue I was talking about. The config testing is just because it's like, you're not a real machine. You're not a real boy. But it's fine. Mod probe failed. Oh, no. It's interesting that it did a system verification to get by that. That's a pretty low-level thing to check. It's like, do you have any modules? If you don't, you're not a real system. I refuse to believe you're a real system. You're not a real boy. If you know what you're doing, which I don't. But I'm going to do it anyway. I mean, it's doing it as root, so I could really screw my computer up. That's one of the reasons this is dangerous. Actually, this is what I'm saying. If I do this, it's probably good to have a server to do all this on, even if you don't want to have a bunch of tiny little servers, right? So, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of in the fence between doing this and then doing cloud. So I'm gonna do my completion. We're gonna activate completion for kubeadm because completion bash kubeadm. Oh, this is the thing I found out. Watch, you get this error. You know how to fix it. I just figured this out today. You gotta run that to get the function. And then you go to the kubeadm tab. There you go. And then what init? I did that because I didn't want to type this. Oopsie. Dash ignore. There equals 0. You got to have completion in the world of Kubernetes. You're gonna hate it. No supported system init detected. This might take a few minutes or two. Pulling images required for setting up Kubernetes clusters. This might take a minute or two, depending on your speed or connection. It goes up front of the section beforehand using kube config images pull. Oh, it's doing things. Oh my god, it's actually doing things. Creating static pod manifests. Creating pod manifests. Oh my god. I actually think it might have done a thing. Waiting for the kubelet to boot up the control plane as static pods from directory etcd manifests. This may take 4 minutes. Up to exactly 4M0S. It's rather precise. You know what it's doing? It's waiting for the kubelet to boot up the control plane as static pods from directory. Wait, I gotta process that. I've been wondering what the control plane actually is. So it says waiting for the kubelet to boot up the control plane as static pods. What the fuck is a static pod? I've never heard that term before. I've heard pods. I haven't heard static pods. Static pods. I gotta look what this is. What is a static pod? I have a feeling it's a pod that's locally located, like that static and dynamic linking in C or something. Creating static pods. Static pods are always bound to one kubelet on a specific node. Nice. The kubelet automatically tries to create a mirror pod on the Kubernetes API server for each as you have defined a static pod and restart the kubelet. The new static pod should already be running. Nice. I've learned something. Today I learned something. HTTP call equal to curl failed with error. Can't get the health server because why? Because there's no Nginx. Apparently we have to set up Nginx on our own to get health Z to work. It seems like the kubelet isn't running or healthy. There is no kubelet. What? What happened? Execution phase, wait control plane. Couldn't initialize the Kubernetes cluster to see the stack trace of this error. You know why? Because we didn't give it a configuration file. Nope. Docker PS. Here's one example. You may list all the Kubernetes containers running in Docker. PS-A. Oh shit. What the hell? What the hell? What? Oh, those are all the old ones. I need to prune that shit. Yeah, that's yeah. This is working though. So far this is working. This is kind of fun. So there's all my control planes. This is so interesting because the overlay is kind of mind-blowing. We have like, you know, host containers running in the container engine that's mounted from the socket inside of every node, so every node can see each other, including their own OS and implementation. It's a little bit like, it's a little bit freaky. I mean, it's definitely not for beginners, but this is helping me get my head around what is running and what has to run on a thing without having to install computers. You know, that would have taken a lot longer. Building this Dockerfile is actually faster than it would take me to set up, you know, a whole bunch of Raspberry Pis and download the images, possibly. Which I could also do, you know. Then I just have to set up the routing and the networking, and then I go to my Wi-Fi router and, you know, do all that stuff, which I still need to do eventually. I need to learn on that too. You can't escape learning the networking stuff. Gotta learn that as well. Okay. This is good news. Still trying to find out what the last error was about though. Ignore preflight checks. You see how it found everything faster that time? Because it didn't have to pull it again because it already pulled last time. Yay. Creating static pod manifest for Kube API server, Kube controller manager, Kube scheduler. So yep, this reminds me of all the these are pods. So this is really good because this confirms a bunch of stuff we were trying to infer from the documentation that we couldn't really figure out. For example, when you go look at the components of the architecture, it tells you it's got these pretty hexagons, but it doesn't tell you what they are. Kubelet is a running process. It's a running process. The API server, the controller manager, and the scheduler, which are listed under the documentation, it doesn't tell you that they are separate things and they are not running processes. They're pods. But a pod is also a running process, but it's running inside of a container. It's not running as a standalone Go service or something. Go program as a service. HTTP call to curl health check is failing. Connection refused. So we're making progress here. I mean, this is big progress. Probably time for me to quit, but waiting for the kubelet to boot up the control plane. I wonder if it's just running out of. It's still running though. I mean, it doesn't have a connection refused. All right, so let's go back to the docs and kind of regroup, see where we are. So I went ahead and installed the Docker engine on Ubuntu, and I did not use Containerd. I probably want to use Containerd. I don't know how to install Containerd, but oh no, we did. We read about how to install Containerd. You had to modify the you had to do something to modify the kernel because it's already built into it or something. But I think this is going to be the easiest thing for people. So I'm just going to say, just go install Docker on there. And then it didn't use the shim, which I thought was interesting. It didn't look for the socket as the shim location. It looked for it in some other place. Docker logs container ID. The control component may have crashed or exited when starting container runtime. Like command systemctl status kubelet. There is no systemctl. Maybe that's why. So if you're honest, no, we're not. The kubelet is not running. No, we didn't put a kubelet on here yet. Are we supposed to install the kubelet? Are you saying we can't use? Wait. What are we supposed to do first? I thought the init was supposed to do the kubelet thing. Unfortunately, the error has occurred. Timeout waiting for connection. I think you're supposed to run init. Okay, yeah. We need to install the kubelet. There's no kubelet on it, so that's gonna be the next step. How do we install kubelet? I thought init put the kubelet on there. I guess not. All right, so back out of this. Go back out of here. Go back here. Basics. Create a cluster. Okay. Feedback. Use MiniCube to create a cluster. No. Creating a cluster. Interactive tutorial. I'm kind of scared. Oh, this is the Kata code stuff. Yeah, this is new. This is the. I mean, why not? Let's just do it. No, I don't fucking want MiniCube. I don't want MiniCube. All right, so I want to make a cluster from scratch. Leave. All right. So documentation. Try Kubernetes. Set up Kubernetes cluster. Yes. Install Kubernetes subtool. Yes. Okay, let's do that. Installing kubeadm. Did that. Using kubeadm to create a cluster. Ooh, we'll go back there in a sec. Revert back. We did that. Network adapters. Did that. I'm going with sysdocs because this is what I'll be looking at on the certification. And there's some weird tabs that go on, so I don't want to have my text browser on this. So here's IP tables traffic. Make sure letting IP tables see bridge traffic. Make sure that we have filter modules that can be running. There's a requirement for your Linux nodes IP tables to correctly see bridge traffic. You should ensure traffic is set to on. This is interesting. I imagine this might be a problem that's not working. This is not beginner stuff, man. I have a feeling that the IP tables is not seeing bridge. I have a feeling this is the reason, and it can't see my health checks. Either that or I haven't installed Nginx. We're gonna keep going. For more details, let's see the network plugin requirement. Check required ports. These required ports need to be open in order for Kubernetes components to communicate with each other. 6, I see if I remember them. 6443, 8080, 5000, right? Oh wow, a lot more. What? Oh, the scheduler? Control plane has its own special ports. Did not know this. 6443. The API server. The API for server is 6443. What's 5000? Oh, I think that's Jupyter Hub. I think I'm mixing them up. Yeah, it is. So 6443 is Kubernetes. This also runs on 8080 sometimes. So etcd 6379 2380. I want to know these ports, so when I see them, I know what's up. Worker nodes. Inbound, yeah, and then the really, really big ones. This always freaked me out because that's usually like, in that range, you usually think it's an ephemeral port. I thought I had it backwards the first time I saw it. The ephemeral port's the outbound port, right? And then usually the listening port's someone you recognize, 80 or something, right? And first time I saw this, and I saw the 3000 as a port to connect to, I think we were using Istio or some sort of ingress thing. I had to like map it. I was like, that can't possibly be the number. It's like super big. That's not it. And that was it. So, because for some reason it's over 3000. This is, so like MiniCube, when you set up MiniCube, it will actually assign a port and connect it out to the host network for you automatically for all services, no matter what kind they are, whether they're load balancer or cluster node or whatever. Node port services, yeah. Default range for node port services. Yes, that's what they are. Node ports. Node ports are, yeah, a thing. I'll read about services. Okie dokie. Let's go back to selling at runtime. We did that. We did the runtime, but it didn't pick that up. It says container runtime for information. We did this, and and I swear to God, we clicked on containerd and it said, okay, so this section contains the necessary steps to use containerd as CRA runtime. Use the following commands to install containerd as your system. I actually think it's fine putting Docker on there because we're using the whole thing where we're mounting the socket. Because then if I get on one of the nodes or workers and I want to just do something to Docker, I can like quickly look at it. I don't have to go over to another system, even though I would have to do that if I was doing a real machine. Sudo mod probe overlay. This is what I'm trying to say. This stuff is built in to the kernel now. You seeing this? Apply systemctl parameters without reboot. Systemctl system. This is cool to me. And this is proof positive that containers are Linux. They are Linux. They're not something you install. In order to enable the container engine, you just turn it on in the kernel. That's it. Now, I mean, that is it. Now, I wouldn't be able to run Docker on the system if I did it this way. By installing Docker over there, I got a lot of extra weight and stuff, and I'm probably going to take that out at some point and just use the container. But yeah, I'm fighting off doing that right now. So install and configure prerequisites. Use the following commands to install containerd on your system. And then you just do this, make sure containerd config default. See, containerd is already on there. Oh, wait. Hold the phone. This is why I did it. Step 1 on Linux, if you want containerd on there, install containerd.io package from the official Docker repos. Instructions for setting up the Docker repo, respective Linux installing containerd.io. You know what? I bet you I didn't need the Docker CE stuff. Let's try it. Systemctl, Kubernetes Colearning, confident network bridge, IP forwarding, IP tables, setup, required by firmers. I bet you I didn't need to do that. I bet you all I needed was the containerd stuff. Or restart containerd. You can't because there's no systemctl because it's not that. Yeah, Docker was the way to go for sure. Docker was the way to go for sure for this because we were able to reuse the Docker socket from the host system. We didn't have to do the systemctl stuff. This would have tripped us up on containerd. So the way that I'm doing it kind of requires us to install the Docker Lite, Docker CE, and all the other stuff, and then we just mount the socket. It does it that way. All right, so I don't feel bad about this, but if I were going to do container, this is the way. Okay, so when I do hardware, this is what I'm going to do. When I do hardware, I'm going to do all the systemctl stuff. Whether I do PowerShell, what? PowerShell? Are you kidding me? Why did I put PowerShell? Maybe it's a WSL2 thing. I don't know. Using systemd secret driver. Use the systemd secret driver in etc blah to run sec. We don't have systemd. So, because using systemd in a container is a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass. So I'm glad we did the Docker version. We're done. To learn nowadays. You've been saying it a lot. I know systemd is a thing to learn. I just fucking hate it. In order to use it inside of here, we have to mount a whole bunch of other stuff, and we don't. Then if we use systemd in a container, it'll fuck up the whole system. So yeah, I don't want anything to do with that. I'm gonna keep it all docker.sock for now. I have a feeling that this is exactly why containerd doesn't work in our infrastructure cluster that we've been building this week. But I won't know it. I need to go be able to pick in. Now I actually know what's going on. I can go look at the underlying problem. Yeah, they sent a whole bunch of hardware back and said rebuild it because we hadn't built it with Creo, and then it wouldn't work. Nothing would work. And then I don't know the details. And then they went back and said, okay, fine, put Docker on it. We're good. And so they put Docker and containerd back on. See, containerd is a Docker thing, right? No, Dockerd. Never mind. Yeah, I keep mixing up containerd and Dockerd. Containerd is everywhere. Containerd is even on a systemd system, right? If you have systemd, you still have containerd. If I remember right. I may have that wrong. Okay, Creo, secret drive for kubelet. Yeah, they're different. I thought I've been mixing Dockerd and containerd a lot, and they're not the same. So, what is this? This is for how to set up Creo. These are all the container edges you have to pick from. Data reload, enable Creo now. Time call group. Hey, look, Tommel. Or is it I? They're the same. I made the Tommel logo. I'm going to say that every time. Every time. Restart Docker and enable on boot. Restart Docker and enable on boot. All right. I don't really care about you. All right. So I feel like we're kind of at a stopping point. Yep. We went ahead and put Docker on there. We didn't even need any of this. We were able to bypass all of this by just mounting the socket. Yep. So now we have the Nginx issue, and I don't know what's up with that. The health check thing. Yeah, we're off to another step. Okay, so I gotta summarize. So where is my log? Still pursuing host containers. Okay, with kubeadm init. Lots of Dockerfile work to get deps installed. And then what? Mounted var run docker.sock. So all using same Docker, and made it past, let's see, made it up to health check errors. So we're now ready to ready to start doing more with kubeadm config. So we've got running systems, you know, So systems are running. Ready to start doing more with kubeadm. So that was quite the session. It's not quite 3 hours, but that's fine. I'm still gonna call it. I'm gonna go do something else and relax. I've been really wired all day on this stuff. I haven't been able to relax, so I'm gonna go ahead and relax on this. I hope you were able to learn something following along from my errors. I made a lot of errors today, like stupid errors. So maybe you can laugh at my errors and not make them for yourself. And yeah, that's it. So when tomorrow, I don't know what the schedule is going to be. Let's go look at the schedule. Tomorrow, yeah, tomorrow's Sunday. Tomorrow at noon, we're going to do AMA. So just AMA, no news or anything. I'm just going to be making a bunch of tiny little videos that are in response to your questions, and I'll be going through the Discord questions that I didn't answer from before. Any question at all. So if you want to ask a beginner question or an old question, anything at all. And so I just want to make you aware of that. And that's it. That's it for today. I have more co-working tomorrow night. And I was planning on doing some Kubernetes stuff, some Jupyter Hub stuff with the PyTorch image. But I don't think I'm going to do that again. I think I'm going to keep on this Kubernetes learning stuff because I really feel like I'm making progress. I don't want to lose my momentum on this. I've also canceled some of my Go development and my shell scripting because I got momentum on the Kubernetes stuff. So I'm just gonna really punch it through for the next couple of weeks here, and maybe you get my certifications early. Who knows? And see what we can do there. Because I'm just feeling it. Also, I have to clean up all this old hardware that we're going to be in the apartment for longer than I anticipated. So we're going to be cleaning up all this old hardware and putting it in the corner over here. And that means I'll be running it on hardware and setting up a camera over there or something so we can get that all done. So that's going to be the focal point of my stream when I'm not working and not preparing boost content. That's going to be the focus for the foreseeable future for next few weeks, because I can't let this momentum go. I got to keep going. All right. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll put the music back on for you. Bye.